That's why. Anyway, now that we're done talking about that, let's talk about how Square Enix launched a new anti-harassment policy to protect its employees and partners from abusive fans. Now, first off, one thing that I always say on this page, one thing that I have always said on this page is when it comes to people getting mad for bad decision making in the games that they play, 9 times out of 10, when these games make fucked up decisions that you don't like, it's not because of the developers, it's because the people who have the money to pay the developers tell the developers to do things and alter and change the game in ways that affect the developer's decision and what they think would be a fun game for whatever reason. Most of the time, profit game. And a lot of people, all they know is this game was made by a bunch of people. Let's yell at the people making the game. When the people who was making the game, they're on your side. They agree with you. When the bigwigs told them to add another microtransaction skin instead of balancing the game and making sure that it works, they were standing there with the same opinion that you have right now. No, we don't want to make another skin. We want to actually balance the game. We want to make sure the game works. And the bigwigs said, that's cool and all, but which one pays the bills? Having a working game or charging people for another skin? But user experience, we don't give a fuck how the user experience is the game. As long as they cut the game on and buy some skins in once in a while, we don't give a fuck. And I think the contrast between Concord and Marvel Rivals is amazing proof of exactly what I'm talking about. Because what's the difference between Concord and Marvel Rivals? One is free to play and nickels and dimes you for all the skins. One was pay once, play forever. They were the same fucking game. One has Marvel characters, one has original characters. A lot of the characters have the same freaking functions. Like Teo, Punisher. What's shorty name? Black Widow, Val. It's just instead of melee, she had a very, very, very short range pistol. The same idea. In the Hulk, Star Child. Same fucking idea for the game. It's just that one has Marvel characters and is free to play. The other one was buy and play forever. People aren't tired of live service games. People aren't tired of hero shooters. People like to be tricked into playing games. People don't just want to play a game and enjoy it. People prefer to be tricked into it. Because a lot of people will say microtransactions are evil, microtransactions are the devil. You check their PlayStation account, you check their Steam account, you check their Epic account, you check their Xbox account. There's more microtransactions than game purchases. And you go to their game library, what games are likely to have the highest hours? Is between something like Elden Ring, something like a Fortnite, something like a Roblox. So it's like, bro, we're at the point where, like I said in that Concord video, go ahead, go back and watch that. Even if you don't give a fuck about Concord, watch that video and go straight to the end and watch the part where I said, yo, Firewalk Studios, if you ever see this, I'm gonna need you to know that what you're doing, the way you're doing your game, objectively, is great. But the general market, they've been brainwashed into thinking that what you're giving them, which is a full product, which is a better product, is not something they want. They've been tricked into that. So you're fighting an uphill battle that I'm gonna need you to know you're fighting. Anyway, let's go back to this article. The new policy states that Square Enix believes that the feedback, comments, and requests received from our customers are essential to the advancement of our group's products and services. At the same time, there are instances where certain customers take actions directly or through our support centers or towards our group of executives, employees, and or partners who are involved in the creation and distribution of our group products and services that constitute customer harassment. Such actions do not only prevent our employees and partners from engaging in their work with a sense of security. Yeah, because one thing that I didn't understand when I was a bit younger and I knew that developers was getting harassed is I used to think of it from a standpoint of, if one nigga threatened me, I don't give a fuck. It's a nigga over the internet 100 miles away. Who gives a shit? But as I got older, I realized, like, yeah, that may be true for some individuals, but if it's 99 niggas threatening you online, one of them would really smack you if they saw you in real life. Now, how you react to getting smacked, that's on you. You want to be Mr. Tough Gangster Guy, or you want to be Mr. He hit me. That's all on you. That's all on your lifestyle. But I get what they're saying. After a certain amount of threats, you start to wonder how many of these are real. Because keep in mind, these people aren't seeing 1 or 2 threats. These niggas get thousands and thousands of fucking messages a day from people talking about how they'll go down to the studio with a bomb strapped to their chest and all this other crazy stuff. They'll say, oh, if I see you, I'm gonna shoot you until you die, and all kinds of other sick, nasty, vile stuff. And like, yeah, a good majority of them is trolls. But again, if 1,000 people threaten you and 999 of those people are just bluffers over the internet saying shit just to say shit, one of them niggas really mean it. Now imagine if 5,000 people are threatening you, 10,000, 100,000 people are threatening you. It's gonna wear down your mental health. There's been real instances of developers ending their own lives behind stuff like this because they were so like disturbed in their soul by the fact that people would wake up out their bed, claim they're in the same mind, and send messages like how I described, where they say, oh, I'm gonna find your studio and I'm gonna do this, this, and this. I'm gonna strap a bomb to your car so that when you start it up, you blow up. Like, people will really say sick shit like that, and after a certain amount of time, you're gonna think, if enough sick niggas are sending me this, that means there are sick niggas that actually mean it. And keep in mind also, this is all over some goddamn video games and not liking a game. Instead of not liking the game and moving on with your life, you rather threaten to take another nigga's life. Partners from engaging, such actions do not only prevent our employees and partners from engaging in their work, because if you're depressed, it's kind of hard to fucking work, and if you're paranoid, it's doubly hard to work, with a sense of security, but also causes disruptions to other customers. If all the developers are sad and fearing for their life and paranoid and too scared to work on a game because their mental health is fucked up, yeah, it's gonna take your games longer to come out. People want those DLC updates that should come out in 2 months because all the developers are depressed and they're fighting their intuitions to get up and go to work every day. Guess what? Some days them niggas just not gonna come to work. And I'm not saying that just because they're game developers that received a death threat, that every day they come into work sad and depressed going, oh, woe is me, I can't do anything. Like, no, I'm not saying that it causes crippling depression for every individual that encounters. But, like I said, some people it has been taken that far. Those actions range from refusing support requests and implementing bans in cases where such action is egregious or with malicious intent, legal action, and possibly even criminal proceedings. But you know what I'm going to proceed to do? Promote the drinking of nice, fresh, clean water. Grab you something that can contain water and put some water in your throat and swallow it till it hits your stomach. Let that set of hydrogen 2 oxygen particles go down your throat and into your body and give you some nourishment, gang. Let it give you some nourishment, gang. Now, back to talking about this. As fortunate as drinking water is, as unfortunate as it is that this sort of thing has to be spelled out. Basically, we thought you niggas would be basic human beings, nice to other human beings, but we gotta tell, it's like a kindergartner. You expect a person you expect certain people to give other people certain basic human respectability, right? You expect a certain level of I'm blanking out on a phrase, but basically, like, you expect people to be a certain level of nice to everybody they meet, a certain level of at least respectfulness that they see to everybody. So when you see a kid do something disrespectful, it's like, whoa, you gotta step back and remember, hey, this person, their brain, their mentality has not been shaped into a way, or has not been expanded enough for them to have empathy towards other people. We need to expand their views and teach them, hey, there's other people on this planet that you gotta live with. Even if you don't fuck with them, even if you don't like them, even if you don't want to be nice to them, just respect them. Just respect them. Just respect them. And like, you have an adult, whether they act like it or not, they already know this information. A little kid, on the other hand, you have to tell them this information and you have to specify it. And it's like, dog, you have to specify it to them because they don't know. They've been on this earth less than a decade. They gotta tell this shit to people who've been on this earth for like 3 decades. Every nigga's 30 years old sending these goddamn threats. That shit be crazy to me. People be grown ass men and women sitting in a crib dictating death threats to somebody just because a feature in a game, in a future entry of a game franchise that they love, isn't there, or is not the way it was compared to previous entries. Like, bro, what the fuck? Like, bro, you ain't got bills, you ain't got a mortgage, you ain't got a partner, you ain't got no kids, nigga. You ain't got a dog. You don't have like something that you do that requires real attention and energy to the point to where you gotta threaten niggas for making a piece of entertainment you could just not pay for and not buy. Nigga, you're weird. Game companies are increasingly being forced to take explicit, specific action against abusive fans. In 2023, Destiny 2 studio Bungie won a $500,000 award against a racist shit stain who, that is their quote, not mine, who harassed and threatened a community manager, and in 2024 issued permanent bans against players who aimed toxic abuse at one of his developers during a live stream. Colossal Order CEO Matt Image also warned against growing toxicity among City Skyline 2 players in 2024, saying the studio may have to pull back our engagement with the community if it keeps up. This to me is fucking nuts. So y'all sent death threats and threatened to kill the developers so much to the point where they said, we're not gonna give y'all access to us. You know how crazy that is? That's like, all right, think of it like this. Imagine you go in your local supermarket every 2 weeks and spend 3 bands in that bitch. Cause let's say you got 6 or 7 kids, like kids from your own womb or from your own testicles, and then you have a lot of foster kids, so you often have to go to the supermarket and buy a lot of food in bulk, and all the time, every 2-3 weeks, You in that bitch spending 3 bands getting more food for these kids. And it gets to the point, and you're racist towards like the store owner or the cashiers. Let's say the cashier. You're racist towards the cashiers. You walking in the store saying, calling the cashier slurs, being rude, telling them, hurry your stupid ass up. Where I'm from, I could have killed you. I could have had you killed by now, or saying some off the wall stuff, right? Imagine you do that all the time, to where you, the person that spends 3 bands at like 6 bands a month at this grocery store. Imagine a person who runs the grocery store gotta come and be like, hey, I'm gonna tell you this right now. You're my biggest spender in here. What does that mean? That means I would love for you to spend your money at my establishment. But if you spending your money at my establishment means that you call my fucking employees slurs, and you call them outside the name, outside the writing that they have on their name tag or whatever they request to be asked, I'm going to be forced to bar and ban you from this store. Meaning if you ever walk in this store, security, they're on your ass like white on rice, kicking you out the store. We making a scene in front of your children and the foster kids you got with you and all of that. You're not allowed in this store. Security, they're gonna lock the door until your ass learn and realize you're not coming in this store till you learn to respect our employees. You know how much it would hurt a store owner to do that? That's essentially what they're doing. They're like, yo, we don't give a fuck how much money y'all spend in our games. If every time we log on to stream and give developer diaries and updates about this game, if every time we log on to do that, the whole comment section is you should unalive yourself. The whole comment section is, y'all should stop making video games forever. This shit sucks. The whole comment section is people finding ways around Twitch's filters to call people slurs or whatever new slurs that Twitch filters haven't came up to yet. The whole chat, let's say we got a black employee on screen, the whole chat is ooh ah ah. The whole chat is, oh, look at this work monkey, DEI this, DEI that. Shout out you if you keep the reference. But anyway, DEI this, DEI that. They're like, bruh, if that's what y'all gonna do, it's cool. We'll write a blog post, put this shit on the website. If you read it, you read it. You don't, you don't. Fuck y'all. We not doing this, bro. We not doing the back and forth. Because at the end of the day, we want to provide a product that people can enjoy. And if y'all make us not enjoy that process, we're not going to want to make it. And we don't want to get to that point. So we'd rather just cut out the shit that's making us fucking with our mental, which is live streaming. With the community. As noted in that Reddit thread, which I'm not finna click, Square Enix has faced a significant level of abuse in the past as well. Yeah, because they own a lot of IP that are highly regarded. Like, let's see. Please name all the IP Square Enix. Oh wait, that's fun. Okay, so Square Enix owns Final Fantasy. Look, it came up with 21 fucking entries. They own Final Fantasy. 185 million units sold worldwide, and that's probably inaccurate. They probably sold more than that. Dragon Quest, which for those of y'all who are American, Dragon Quest is a very popular game in the West, in like Japan, China, Hong Kong. Well, I said China, Hong Kong, my dumb ass. Japan, China, Thailand, like places like that, Dragon Quest is more popular. Kingdom Hearts, Chrono Trigger, Mana, the Mana series. What else do we have on here? Nier, as in Nier Automata. Oh, I didn't know they own Just Cause and Life is Strange. What the fuck? Dead ass? See, I just learned something new. I love the Life is Strange franchise. Square Enix owns it. They own Space Invaders from all the way back in the Atari days. Which, by the way, if you don't know what Space Invader is, go ahead and give your your old head parents or give your old ass grandparents, depending on how old you are, if your grandparents are more in like the 40s to 50s range, then yeah, give your grandparents a little scare. Go and tell them, grandmama, granddaddy, mommy, dad, what's Space Invaders? And watch them flip their shit and say, oh my god, Space Invaders back in my day, that was that shit. So like, y'all may not understand how powerful this IP is, but they fucking powerful. Back to the article though. Point of me pointing that out was, like I said, there are a lot of franchises that people are ride or die and that people beloved that are owned by Square Enix. So there are a lot of people who are very feel very strongly about this shit and have very strong reactions that come along with those very strong feelings. So this significant level of abuse, anytime any of these games. So for all of these games that you never heard of, just imagine the amount of people for all these games you never heard of cursing out Square Enix. Then imagine on top of that all the Final Fantasy fans that are Final Fantasy XYZ purists. They're Final Fantasy 14 purists. So anything that's not Final Fantasy 14, anytime they don't get something they want in Final Fantasy 14, they say, oh, if you weren't working on 7 Rebirth, or if you weren't working on fucking 16 and Final Fantasy 17, maybe you could have put XYZ or did XYZ with Final Fantasy 14, the game that's a bill. And all this stuff. Or even with Dragon, even with, let's say, what's another franchise? Let's say Just Cause. The last Just Cause game was like an Xbox One era game. So it might be people from that who are fans of that who are sending threats like, yo, if you don't make another Just Cause game, I'm gonna unalive myself and all this other extra crazy crackers crap. And it's like, bro, us as normal people, we go, man, it's never that fucking serious. But not everybody's normal, bro. Significant level. Final Fantasy writer. See? Final Fantasy is one of the biggest up there, so that's why they mentioned it. Final Fantasy has a very large vocal minority of angry niggas that are Final Fantasy XYZ purists. Oh, only Final Fantasy 7 is good. Only Final Fantasy 7 if we're talking about the original PS1/PS2 Final Fantasy. I don't remember. Oh, no. Final Fantasy is only good if you're playing Final Fantasy 3. Which Final Fantasy 3? The good one. It's like, oh my god. Said in February 2024 that he felt afraid after facing insults and violent words from a supposed fan, and Final Fantasy 14 actor said later in the year that she faced transphobic abuse, including misgendering, death, that kind of bag of grape threats, doxing attempts, and threats against her family. Yeah. Whenever people find out whenever people find out you develop a game that they like and there's anything they don't like about it, they insult you. But the more further you stray from cisgendered, heterosexual, Caucasian masculine male, the more and more they're willing to do and say weird shit to and about you. So you think it's bad enough when they see a straight white man that developed a game that they don't like? Imagine when they find out it's a woman. Imagine when they find out it's a gay person. Imagine when they find out that it's a Negro. Imagine when they find out that it's a person with a disability, whether it be mental or physical. Imagine when they find out it's somebody that's transgender. Imagine when they find out that it's anybody other than a cishet white male, and sometimes, in lucky cases, the white women they love to sexualize. So yeah, and this part especially, even if you're not like overtly sexual or overtly about your sexuality or nothing like that, which, just to clarify, doesn't make it right, but it's one of those things of, is it right? No. Do you know is more likely to happen? Yes. Is it right? Still no. If you go to the club in a dress, no, niggas shouldn't grope you. Niggas shouldn't say weird shit to you. But is it more likely to happen in that revealing dress? Or is it more likely to happen when you don't have that revealing dress? Now, again, 100% of rape is done by rapists. But, okay? And I just don't want that, because, like, I know that could be misconstrued as some type of victim blaming, but it's just one of those things where it's like, bro, there's victim blaming, and then there's sometimes recognizing that you try and minimize shit, but it still doesn't matter. If that makes sense. I don't know the proper way to explain it, other than, like, it's not the victim's fault. Again, 100% of rape is done by rapists, but it's just certain things you know. Going back into this, with the LGBTQ thing, it's like, whenever it comes to sexual topics, like, bro, people just start getting weird. People start saying, oh, you want to be a girl? I'm going to come you and make you feel like a girl for real. I'm going to come take your manhood away, blah, blah, blah. It's certain stuff like that where those people do go into that type of talk, and they do go into that type of weird shit. So it's like, hey, you don't believe it's happening? You ain't gotta believe it. You just gotta know about it. Like I always say about the stuff with how developers unroll them beanbags anytime it's the time to develop a new game, and they work at their desk until it's time to go to sleep, and they're all in unison, in sync, like synchronized swimmers. They get in a beanbag, they lay on the floor for 3 hours, and they get the fuck up, and they have executives slap their dick on their shoulder and say, yeah, all that hard work you're doing based off the years of studying and learning that you did, also based on a market that not only were you both a part of and now a developer in, yeah, the market that you know 10 times more than me about, fuck all that. Let me make the final decisions in this shit, because I'm throwing some dollars your way. I know more than you. When I be talking about that, again, it comes from a place of raising awareness, one, and a place of two, I'm not making this shit up. There's been extensive proof of stuff like this happening. And not only happening in abundance. Anyway, for her portrayal of that character in Greek's 2023 State of the Game Industry Survey, 91. So that means only 9% of the people who were respondents said that player harassment of game developers isn't a problem for the industry, particularly among women and members of the, I gotta add the guilty gear notation, 2S LGBTQ AI plus community. I know the whole acronym. Okay, that's my daily brown nose and virtual segment. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Yeah, like I said earlier, if you're anything other than a straight white male, and if you're lucky, one of the white women that they like to sexualize, it's even worse. It's even worse than I'ma kill you. Now I'm a bag of grapes. I just made the noise.